Tonight, cane farmers in the western part of the country are decrying the politicization of the revival of Mumias Sugar Company, citing politicians and their interference. Our guest tonight is a high-ranking politician from Western. We speak to Kakamega Governor Wycliffe Ambetsa Oparanya in our quest to find out why the sugar is bitter. Good evening, but first, these are the highlights. Tonight, Education CS Professor George Magoha says parents are refusing to pay third-term school fees.
But the Kenyan parents who are still denying paying the balance of their third-term school fees should please pay that fee without further delay.
The government has directed all school heads to ensure parents pay third-term school fees. How safe is what you eat? More Kenyans opt for food from street vendors due to harsh economic times. But how safe is the food? Plus, desperate times call for desperate measures. Kisumu County announces tougher measures to curb the rise in COVID-19 infections in the region. Besa is our sign language interpreter. Good evening, I'm Abubakar Abdullahi. Welcome to the broadcast. To our top story tonight, and Education CS Professor George Magoha now says some parents have refused to pay their third-term school fees. Speaking during the handing over ceremony of a multi-million agricultural laboratory building at the Jomo Kenyatta University of Agriculture and Technology, CS Magoha said some parents were taking advantage of his last year's directive following the COVID-19 pandemic. Our Education Affairs reporter Andrin Kilemi begins our broadcast tonight.
Education CS Professor George Magoha says a section of parents have been refusing to pay third-term school fees. The CS has ordered all school heads across the country to ensure that learners pay their fees.
I want today to request on behalf of government that the Kenyan parents who are still denying paying the balance of their third-term school fees should please pay that fee without further delay.
Last year, Professor Magoha had warned school heads against sending learners home for lack of school fees due to the adverse effects of COVID-19 pandemic. Magoha further noting that some parents were taking advantage of his remarks.
Majority of the people who are refusing to pay fees can afford to pay, and they must now pay. This is the last term of the year, the last half of the last term of the year.
The CS was speaking during the launch of a multi-billion agricultural laboratory at the Jomo Kenyatta University of Agriculture and Technology. Meanwhile, he says the Form 1 selection process is on course and would be completed in a week's time.
Form 1 selection is going on very well, and we should be able to talk to the nation before the 15th of this month. We have ensured that there is absolute fairness, more especially for the children who are intelligent and are poor from the slum areas.
The government has already released 9.3 billion shillings to fund the free education program. 2.8 billion shillings will go to primary schools, while the other 6.5 billion shillings will be channeled to secondary schools.
2.8 billion, which is the complete amount for the primary school, so there is no reason for any shortages, and has released 6.5 billion for secondary schools. We still have another 6.5 which we are going to release in the very near future.
Earlier, school heads had decried the financial crisis in schools, stating that the government should release more capitation funds. Andrina Kilemi, TV 47.
Elsewhere, President Uhuru Kenyatta has grown more aggressive in implementing his legacy projects, and infrastructure accounts for nearly 90% of those projects. Kenyatta has so far spent 900 billion shillings on infrastructure compared to 185 billion shillings retired President Mwai Kibaki spent during his first 7 years in office. But with an exchequer committed to fulfilling the ever-growing appetite for more funds, how do this humongous budget compare to its value? Musa Salah takes a dip into Kenyatta's obsession with infrastructure.
Directors, come join the team.
As Cabinet Secretary Ukur Yatani prepares to present what could be termed as Kenya's biggest budget so far in Parliament on Thursday, the 2021-2022 budget is estimated at about 3.6 trillion shillings. Out of these, 2 trillion shillings will be proceeds of government revenues, leaving the government with a 1.6 trillion shillings deficit. And to make up for this, Yatani plans to borrow over 900 billion shillings. Kenya's ballooning debt has had a dent on the country's GDP, which according to the Central Bank of Kenya was at 1.05 trillion shillings in 2003 and rose to over 3.5 trillion shillings in 2013. However, in the last 8 years, Kenya's public debt has risen from 1.8 trillion shillings to over 9 trillion shillings, with an estimated annual budget deficit of 8%. According to the 2021-2022 Finance Bill, Yatani's National Treasury is leaving no stone unturned in its quest to satisfy the government's growing appetite for more funds, driven by President Uhuru Kenyatta's legacy projects. In the last 7 years, President Kenyatta spent a cumulative 900 billion shillings on infrastructure, 715 billion shillings more than what his predecessor Mwai Kibaki spent during his first 7 years in power. Some of Kenyatta's monumental landmarks include the ambitious Lapsset Corridor project that includes a 483-kilometer road worth 150 billion shillings that is expected to traverse the counties of Turkana, Samburu, Isiolo and Meru. The link road, which intends to open up the northern Kenya, will also include part of the Lamu port, a section of which was commissioned by President Uhuru Kenyatta last month. The 3 berths, which will serve Kenya, Ethiopia and Sudan, are said to cost the taxpayer a whopping 323 billion shillings. Others are the Liwatoni floating footbridge that cost the government 1.5 billion shillings, the 86-kilometer long Kenol Marua dual carriageway estimated at 15 billion shillings, and the Nakuru-Nairobi Mau Summit Highway, a 233-kilometer contract valued at 160 billion shillings. The construction of the 540-kilometer long Mau Mau Road, expected to traverse Kiambu, Murang'a, Nyeri and Nyandarua counties, is valued at 30 billion shillings, while the city's Skyliner, the Nairobi Expressway, linking Jomo Kenyatta International Airport to the Nairobi-Limuru Highway, at a cost of 65 billion shillings. The proposed finance bill seeks to give the National Treasury power over tax rates, removing the parliamentary approval obstacle in the Exchequer's attempts to fill the government's reserves. In addition to a 15% excise duty on imported motorbikes set to cripple the boda business, Yatani has also proposed a 16% VAT on bread and milk products, a move that is expected to see taxpayers dig deeper into their pockets. Musa Salah, TV 47.
To some politics now, and Kirinyaga Governor Anne Waiguru has called for concerted efforts by stakeholders to re-energize the Jubilee Party ahead of next year's general elections. Waiguru says the ruling party's fortunes have dwindled, thus demanding an intense introspection into the party lest it goes under. Mwangi Maina tells us more.
That Jubilee Party might exit the political scene come next year as its party leader President Uhuru Kenyatta leaves power is a matter of wait and see, as party adherents continue to voice their concerns of the dwindling fortunes, popularity and the long forgotten unifying factor of the party, as the mantra goes, tuko pamoja. The latest to allay her fears is Kirinyaga Governor Anne Waiguru, who on her social media platforms Monday claimed that the rains have beaten the party, the fortunes are dwindling, and intense introspection is demanded. Waiguru says the Jubilee Party carries the dreams and aspirations of many Kenyans, that it was built on the strengths of many, and it became what it is because of its diverse and broad support base. As if announcing that the party is operating on outdated models, Waiguru insists that the party must devise new tactics, approaches, and strategies in the race to 22 polls. And I quote, "As we head to 2022, we must recognize that the party is now operating in a new context, far different from 10 years ago. We have a much younger generation dominating the electorate. Our outlook and strategies must suit the times, and so we must be willing to step off our comfort zones and embrace new ways of thinking and doing." End of quote. Waiguru is also calling for a party that projects the face of Kenya in all its diversities. Waiguru's sentiments coming at a time when the Jubilee Party is embroiled in leadership wrangles, infightings, and facing stiff competition from rival parties at the grassroots level. Jubilee lost in the recent by-elections with a humiliating defeat in Juja constituency to a little-known People's Empowerment Party led by Gatundu South Member of Parliament Moses Kuria. Waiguru adds that the party must also be pragmatic and reopen both the sides and back of the tent for people to enter and re-enter, as if calling on the party's leadership to condone all expelled members and those who might have left the party willingly. The party's leadership has been accused of dictatorial tendencies, inviting rebellion to the party. Waiguru concludes her lamentations by saying that, and I quote, "A lot of futures are tied to the fate of the party, and we must restore its vision, glory, and stature or contend with predictable consequences." End of quote. Mwangi Maina, TV47, Nairobi.
Moving on, United Democratic Alliance leaders from Rift Valley region have formed a 14-member committee to craft the region's economic and political agenda ahead of next year's general elections. Speaking in Kajiado County during a meeting with local leaders, the political bigwigs have affirmed that they will conduct grassroots campaigns to popularize their agenda ahead of a consultative meeting with Deputy President William Ruto. Take a look.
Every government is elected on an agenda for the people. This time, that agenda, we are pushing it from the bottom so that it becomes an agenda for government to be able to execute within the 5 years that the mandate will be given in an election.
Si jambo la kawaida kuweza kukutana na magovernors na MP na senators pamoja, lakini Mungu ametusaidia, tumeweza kufaulu kwa kuweza kutana pamoja na kuwa na mafikirio ambayo inapelekana pamoja. Sisi ndio tuna mtoto ambaye anaenda kuoa. Na mtoto akienda kuoa lazima kwa heshima. Hatutaki kuassume at our candidate, Deputy President Ruto, akiingia anajua shida zetu zote. I agree, and we have agreed, all of us here. He will be very busy looking the whole Kenya.
Elsewhere, transport was paralyzed in Mumias Town, Kakamega County for the better part of the day following demonstrations by sugarcane farmers for the third day. The farmers have condemned political leaders who are hindering the revival process of the stalled sugar miller. Mike Kagwongo has the details.
Mumias Town. It is the third day since protests against leaders who are allegedly hindering the revival of Mumias sugar miller, with farmers calling on the leaders to get out of the way.
Juzi nimeona viongozi kutoka mkoa wa Magharibi akiwemo Musalia, Wetangula na kijana huyo anaitwa Kilofas Malala. Musalia anapigia huyo investor, anamwambia ya kwamba ati yeye ndio kiongozi ya Western. Huyo investor anakujaja Mumias kama hajaongea na yeye. Wetangula akampigia simu anamwambia yeye ndio kiongozi ya Western. Investor anakujaja Mumias kama hajaambia Wetangula.
Farmers want the county government of Kakamega under the stewardship of Governor Wycliffe Oparanya to hold talks with Devki Steel Mills in a bid to solve the ongoing stalemate.
Mimi tumeketi na county government ya Kakamega ikiongozwa na Mheshimiwa Wycliffe Ambetsa Oparanya, na tumeambia governor aketi na Kenya Commercial Bank watuletee investor wa kufungua kampuni ya Mumias.
Tunataka kiwanda cha Mumias kifanye kazi, ndugu zetu wafanye kazi pale. Tunataka kumuonya Senator Malala. Siasa ya ukora, siasa ya utapeli, siasa ya ujanja. Tunasema shetani afanye nini?
Led by a former sports CS Rashid Echesa, they castigated the leaders for politicizing the process. They have called on the leaders to stay away from the factory, saying they do not have the interest of farmers who, for a long time, have had to endure difficulties since the factory stalled.
Mukiona hawa wakina Musalia na Cleophas Malala, hakuna ukweli kati yao, kwa sababu sisi tunajua wao ni vibaraka vya West Kenya Sugar Company.
Meanwhile, hundreds of sugarcane farmers at Nzoia Sugar Company held demonstrations over delayed payment for the produce. Addressing the media outside the company's entrance, the restive farmers said they are now unable to settle their bills due to lack of funds.
Sasa mimi tunaomba hao wanasiasa akiwamo wa Munyinyi, Eugene, Hangati, Wanalala, Eugene, Wangamati. Sasa wametuachia tu, sisi tunalia kila siku.
Kuna mkulima wa 2019 hajalipwa miwa yake hapa. Kuanzia mwezi wa 10 2020 hakuna mkulima amelipwa miwa yake. Hii kampuni inaunda milioni 30 kila siku. Pesa inaenda wapi? Tukisema hivi deni ya mkulima ni milioni 700. Deni ya mfanyikazi ni bilioni 2. Hii pesa inaenda wapi?
They say the company owes them 700 million shillings accrued since 2019. However, our efforts to reach the company's managing director, Michael Wanjala Makoha, proved futile. For TV 47, I'm Mike Kagwongo.
Thank you, Mike Kagwongo, for that report. You are watching TV 47 News tonight with me, Abubakar Abdullahi. Remember, on Pandits Night tonight, our guest is Kakamega Governor Wycliffe Ambetsa Oparanya. Part of the questions we will ask him is why the sugar in Mumias is bitter this time. Time for us to take a short break. Stay with us.
You are watching TV 47. Precast panels. We have the best quality, durable and affordable precast panels to suit all your needs. Manufactured under a controlled environment, we have the best precast concrete panels, precast concrete floor slabs, precast concrete perimeter wall, precast concrete columns and beams. Our panels reduce construction cost by up to 40% with absolutely no plaster required, including added soundproof benefits. Convenient for story buildings, schools, offices, residential houses, hospitals, and warehouses. Take advantage of our free transport. Contact us on 0702 24 7267 or 0796 24 7267. Global Precast Panels Limited, your reliable option for efficient construction.
These are the sights and sounds of a working nation. There are no shortages to remarkable ideas. What's missing is the will to execute them.
You need to stay relevant. If you don't, you're going to fade off.
Yes, they are a dime in a dozen, but the real meat on these bones comes from trying to realize them.
You just need to perfect anything. If it's drawing, if it's music, pursue it 100% because it's something that is giving back.
Join me, Violet Njoki, as I tell you the stories of these executed ideas, because yours could be next. Mondays, 7:30 p.m.
Hey, now that's hitting the right notes. When life gets boring, we bring out our play. You see, playfulness is in our DNA. It's in the way we move and laugh. It's in the way we walk, the way we rock, and how we just don't stop. You feel me? We add color to everything, to every day and every dish, because the world needs our crazy. We're the different flavors that make life more exciting. We're the ones who add color to every moment. Fanta, color every moment.
Well, the speaker is neither here nor there.
I should have done my outro from here.
You are watching TV 47, the home of untold stories.
Welcome back. Thank you for staying with us. To more news now. An 8-year-old baby Chantel's 2 murder suspects were today arraigned in court but did not take plea after DCI officers asked for more time to gather more evidence to make watertight case against them. The two are 27-year-old Nativity Mutinda and Patrick Muraidi, making 4 other suspects linked to the brutal murder of the grade 2 pupil weeks ago. Lection Laban with this and more from the corridors of justice.
2 suspects in the murder of 8-year-old Chantel Nzembi in Kitengela of Kajiado County were arraigned in court on Monday. Nativity Mutinde Nthuko and Patrick Muraithi Wambare are among the 4 suspects linked to the kidnapping and subsequent murder of 8-year-old grade 2 pupil. 27-year-old Nthuko was arrested last Friday after her phone calls were probed by the investigators. Resident Magistrate Edwin Mlochi ordered they be detained for 7-day remand before appearing in court on 15th this month to take the plea as requested by the DCI officers.
They are being investigated for the offense of murder. We are requesting for this day so that the accused persons can liaise with the officers. Places to be recorded.
Elsewhere, Police Constable Edwin Oscar Okimaru, who is accused of killing Joshua Mungai in Ole Kasas in Ongatarungai of Kajiado County, will have to spend more days in custody as his bail ruling has been pushed to 10th June by Machakos High Court. The matter came up today for bail hearing, but the prosecution had filed an affidavit opposing it, saying the accused is a police officer and is likely to interfere with the witnesses.
My client has returned his badge, his rifle, his uniform, and all his police apparatus. Therefore, Your Lordship, he is incapacitated to act in a manner that an ordinary police officer can do. He cannot access police apparatus. He cannot access police facilities. He cannot even access the witnesses, whom I believe are in witness protection.
Meanwhile, a senior Kenya Police Sergeant Grace Nyamohanga and 4 other suspects have been charged with an offense of obtaining over 200 million shillings from job seekers. Nyamohanga, with her accomplices Jackson Murithi, Zachary Kimathi, Peter Ngere and Masiaga Sylvester, appeared before Principal Magistrate Kennedy Cheroyot, where they denied the charges. According to the prosecution, the accused promised to offer jobs in state corporations and government ministries, including National Land Commission. They denied over 6 counts of falsely obtaining money and issuing forged letters of appointment to job seekers. The court ordered Nyamohanga Ngere and Sylvester Were released on a 2 million shilling cash bail each, while their co-accused Mreithi and Kimathi were released on a 500,000 shillings cash bail. The case will be mentioned on June 21st for pre-trial. Lekishon Laban, TV 47.
Elsewhere, the Judges and Magistrates Association is now contemplating to file a case in court to challenge President Uhuru Kenyatta's decision to omit 6 judges in the recent appointment of judges. Willie Dennis Njiru now reports on the ongoing judges appointment row.
I, Nyukuri Annette.
The Kenya Judges and Magistrates Association is contemplating to seek legal redress following the appointment of 34 judges and omission of 6 others last week. The association dispelled President Kenyatta's in the exclusion without divulging details as to why he took on this action.
Let the accuser give evidence. But if it is somebody saying, we have information, we have intelligence information, that can't be the basis to deny somebody a job, to deny somebody a career progression. Today, my members, my clients, some of them, the 6, have no face. How do they proceed in court when everybody is saying the president has raised doubt on their capacity?
Elsewhere, Safaricom is tomorrow set to receive its operating license in Ethiopia. The move is expected to boost the country's telecommunications services as well as solidify trade and investment between the two countries. Ethiopia's telecommunications regulator awarded the license to a consortium led by Safaricom, UK's and South Africa Vodafone Group, UK's CDC Group, and Japan's Sumitomo. The shake-up of the potentially lucrative sector currently dominated by a state-owned telecommunication giant is a cornerstone of Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed's economic reform agenda. Let's get to the world of sports now. Dennis Otieno is with us. Dennis, what do you have for us tonight?
Well, thank you, Bakar. Tonight, we will be telling you some good news regarding the National Basketball League. We shall also be telling you about the results registered in the National Super League. Now, this and more coming up. And it's time for the sports news with me, Dennis Otieno. Now let's start off with matters basketball. And the Kenya Basketball Federation League resumes this weekend under strict health measures geared towards mitigating the spread of COVID-19. Under the new guidelines, teams will have to undergo a mandatory COVID-19 testing and present the results with the names of players and officials for match day before being allowed into the basketball court. The league, which was suspended on March 26th by the government, was set to resume last weekend but had to be postponed after some clubs requested for more time to comply with the Ministry of Health protocols. Eagle Wings women's team is expected to play against University of Nairobi's Dynamites in the first match on Saturday as Zitech University locks horns with Storms Saturday afternoon. Nairobi Stima have risen to 15th on the National Super League log following a 2-1 win over promotion chasing MCF 2-1 in a round 21 fixture at Kamtoyo grounds on Monday afternoon. Hilary Otieno and Ronald Makati were on target in the final 4 minutes of the opening to hand Stima a crucial 2-0 halftime lead that they held on to record their 7th win of the season. Bradley Omondi pulled one back for MCF, who stayed third on 32 points. 8 points of leaders FC Talanta as Stima rise to 15th on 25 points rather.